be the best. Available at the Home Depot.
Baseball's postseason is here. Seattle Sports Playoff coverage is presented by Honey Bucket, 710 KIRO AM Seattle and KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
Well, it's now become a best of three as the Mariners dropped the game last night to the Toronto Blue Jays. They look to get things turned around in Game 5 when they send Bryce Miller to the hill, hoping he can repeat his performance in his first start against this team, which was his best of the entire season. He faces off against Kevin Gausman. You can catch all of the action here starting at 2 p.m. with the pregame show. 3:08 first pitch right here at Seattle Sports on 710.
Snapshot brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
Welcome to the Mariners Pennant Push.
The Seattle Mariners are champions in the American League West.
Special pregame coverage counting you down to first pitch in the American League Championship Series.
It is on its way. It is history. Cal Raleigh stands alone.
The countdown to first pitch starts now.
Once again, we are live at Victory Hall. Bob Stelton, Ryan Rowland-Smith taking you up to Mariners pregame coming up at 2 p.m. Game 5 coming your way as the series is now tied at 2 games apiece. We'll get into all the details of it and talk about what's good, what's not good. You guys can text in 866-979-3776. Weigh in on the Mariners and whatever you want to say, good, bad, indifferent. I saw all of it last night on social media, Ryan, as you might imagine. A very disappointing game, but, you know, I think the one thing, you know, certainly there were a lot of those that are like, that's it, it's over, we're done. I'm like, the series is tied. Yeah, it's not where you want it to be. Not going to pretend, hey, this is a great thing, but now it's a best of 3. Unfortunately, they've got home field advantage, but now you're 0-0. They started with home field. They got it back. It's a best of 3 series now.
Yeah, I think what stings the most is the fact that you jump out to a 2-0 lead, so you're obviously feeling really good. You come home for 3 games. You start getting the thoughts in your head about. You start seeing the percentages too. 80% of teams that go 2-0 in that first in a 7-game series go on. You start sniffing out the fact that, hey, maybe you can clinch in front of your home fans and get to the World Series for the first time ever. All of this, and then 48 hours later, here we are, back to square one. And we talked about this yesterday. It is a drastic difference, and last night was so pivotal to go from 3-1 to 2-2, because you now all of a sudden have a lineup that you've got to contend with. This Blue Jays lineup went from hitting around 130 as a team those first couple of games in Toronto to all of a sudden just tearing it up and hitting around 350 as a team these last couple of games. So, yeah, it's been wild, but like you said, Bob, you are 2 games away from going to the World Series for the first time ever, and you just have to have that in your mind as you go into today.
Yeah, it's very easy to be negative about last night, and there's not much to be positive about. We'll get into it, but you have to keep in mind where this team stands. And the other part I would say is that, it seems that some of the perception from fans, and I get it, it's emotional. Trust me, I sit next to you in that press box. You see how angry I get when things are going wrong. Yeah. I can relate to the passion online, but you're not being beaten by scrubs. This is the number 1 seed in the American League, okay? Let's not act like it's the Colorado Rockies coming in here and spanking your backside. So let's, and as much as I want to hate Toronto, they're a likable team outside of George Springer, who's a cheater, and he'll always be a cheater, but it's not like the Astros, who make it really easy. I'm not rooting for the Blue Jays by any stretch, but they're a very good team. And I think if you've watched baseball this year, watched outside of the Mariners, if you paid attention, you knew what you saw in games 1 and 2 wasn't going to continue through the entire series. I would love the idea of a sweep. Was tantalizing. I was salivating at the idea. Realistically, would I have gone to Vegas to bet on it? No. I thought they'd split these first 2 games. I actually thought they would get the Kirby game and that they would lose last night. They lost them both, unfortunately, and here we are. And look, I'll say this again. Being in that clubhouse last night, not happy. Nobody's smiling. Nobody's joking around. Nobody's, cracking jokes. But there's no, oh, boy, we're in trouble. Yeah. There's none of that feeling either.
I think it's tough, too, because you are watching the game on TV, when they're up in Toronto, and you're feeling pretty good about it. It's from a distance you're looking at it going, okay, yeah, you can manage this lineup. Vlad Guerrero's hitting well over 400, just hitting nukes all over the place in the middle of that really potent lineup. And then all of a sudden you get on your home turf, and then you're just watching them just beat you, not just on pitching too. It's not just, look, Max Scherzer, I watched that game last night. He was good, man. He leveled up. Velocity was up. The breaking ball, that bigger curveball he had, that was pretty nasty. That way better, because when I went and compared it to the end of September, not the same dude last night. He was good. But you're looking at this, and it's the hard pill to swallow in the situation that they're dealing with right now, where they're probably, a little bit of nail biting, not smiling at it, because in the last two games, the Blue Jays have beaten them on offense, and they've beaten them on pitching. Straight up. It's not a situation where, look, we just didn't get that good start, but you know what, that offense, there was a bit of luck involved. No. They have got some things clicking all of a sudden offensively, and that's the scary part if you're a Mariners fan.
Yeah, the Mariners have done some damage to themselves as well with some sloppy play. You can't,
for sure.
You cannot make outs on the base paths. Mm-hmm. You're in control of that.
Yeah.
Look, you square up a ball, sometimes you hit it right at somebody. Not in your control. You can control what's happening on the base paths, and you saw two faux pas out there. Leo Rivas cannot come into this game, get that start, and get picked off of first base from a guy who has not picked off anybody in a decade. It just can't happen.
Yeah, and look, I don't know if he was taken off, because he did pick over twice. He picked over the time before that, and you're like, okay, all right, I see his feet. I see how quick he's moving. You can't, if he's picking over, the next time, look, if you're paying attention to what Max Scherzer is doing, and you make a good point, the fact that was 2016 since he's picked someone off or whatever it may be, you're watching the footwork, how quick he tries to get over there quick as a base runner. You're looking at this going, okay, now I've got a bit of a read. I don't have to get crazy with this lead. Mm-hmm. But the environment and the time of year and the magnitude of everything, you feel like you got to do a little extra to make sure if you are taken off. And that was a huge mistake there. And, man, just a situation where you get a Max Scherzer who, by the way, I talked about how good he was last night. Those first couple innings, especially the first inning, man, he was not good. He was yanking everything.
Walks.
When I went back and watched some of those games at the end of September, and he was yanking that fastball, everything was missing glove side, and he was pulling off of it, and he's the frustration. That's how he looked in the first two innings.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, look, nothing's changed here, man. Sim games have not cleared anything up. Then you get a little pick over there at first base. You get the double play to get out of the first inning. Like, okay, I'm all good. Just take a breath and settle in. We've seen that last two nights now. You can't do that. And then again with Naylor, I love Naylor being aggressive. But you got to know that he knows. He'll be the first to tell you. Barger in right field has got a really good arm, and he's super accurate. He's one of the better throwers. You have to know that, and you have to understand that in that situation, we just need to generate a whole bunch of havoc behind the bases. We just have to generate some uncomfortableness here against a guy like Scherzer who's starting to settle in. And so that was some really tough turning points in that game.
Yeah, and we heard from Naylor last night. It took him a while to speak. It was very slow moving in the clubhouse, but he got up and he was asked about just the confidence level and that the team has right now and their ability to bounce back, and he gave the answer you would anticipate.
I think they do a really good job with it. We come in every day, watch the day before, and just come into that new day with same expectations on winning the baseball game and working hard and preparing well. I guess enjoying the game too, and kind of building everyone up before the game, during, and after. This team is really resilient, and I'm very blessed and fortunate enough to be here.
Yeah, and he was very matter of fact about everything. He was asked about that base running play, and he said, "Look, I was trying to make something happen. I don't regret being aggressive." I mean, now you can debate him on it. You can say, "Well, you're not a fast guy," and by sprint speed, apparently he's the second slowest behind,
right?
The fat Altuve behind the plate for the Blue Jays. But he said, "Look, I'm trying to make something happen." And
hold on, who are we talking about there?
Alejandro Kirk.
Okay. I know it took me a while.
I was like,
fat Altuve. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's Kirk. That's his game.
Yeah.
That's his game. Does he need to dial it back maybe a touch
No.
in these settings, or do you like his? We've seen him on the base paths in stealing bases. He's an aggressive guy. He's always right. He has yet to be caught stealing.
Yeah.
This one burned him.
Right. And to his credit, in Game 5 against Tarek Scuba, when he jumped out there and stole that base, Well, that was instrumental. That was a turning point. That was, was something you're never going to question that. You're not going to look back after he steals that base and then Mitch Garver hits a sac fly and you're like, hey, you shouldn't have gone off. You shouldn't have gone there. That you're being too aggressive, because that's a situation where you have to try and generate something for sure. It's easy in hindsight, and I love the fact that they're being aggressive. Simply put, going into this game, be aggressive, do what you got to do. But, man, offensively, there's just got to be an uptick there in the at-bats, an uptick there, and just crushing mistakes when you get them.
Yeah, you and I were talking in the booth last night about this game, and look, credit to Scherzer. He's better than he's been. They helped him out a lot. There were some really bad approaches up there. There was some really bad swings.
Yeah.
I mean, you saw Rosarena chase a pitch that was in the other batter's box.
Yeah, he
for
went
the
straight
love of
0-2
God,
and then
man.
boom. Yeah.
I mean, I give him credit. I'm not trying to say he's not good, but he's not 28-year-old Scherzer either. And they made him look that way.
For sure. No, I absolutely. And look, all I'm saying is this. You had a situation where if you look at some of the counts, right, and I talk about this and how you attack the Blue Jays. By the way, all the hits on night one, again, we talk about being aggressive. They all came in the first 3 pitches, right? Super aggressive. Now, if you all of a sudden got to a place where you were throwing breaking balls 2 feet off the plate and I was swinging, you're like, oh, man, you got to simmer down. But that's what I'm talking about the Blue Jays. That's what they had been doing, especially that second half of the year, offensively. But with the Mariners in a situation like that where, to your point, with Max Scherzer, when you're watching a guy who was 2-0, 2-1 on every hitter in those first couple of innings, right, and the command's not quite there, well, then, all right, you get that first look at him, and you can see some of the tendencies. Matter of fact, Josh Naylor talked about it in the postgame when he's talking about how many looks, what he does with his glove, to know when he hit that changeup out. Yeah. He knew that, but he was sitting on that pitch. Why? Yeah. Not because he was tipping something, because he was watching the tendency. But that's a situation where you have to force Max Scherzer to land that same pitch more than once per at-bat. And if not, you know what? I'm going to be a little bit more patient, and I'm going to let that breaking ball go. And if he lands it somehow, you know what? Tip your cap with 2 strikes. But a situation where Randy, you mentioned, just getting over-the-top aggressive. I don't know what pitch he was looking for. He missed it by 2 feet, way out in front. It was wild. And you look at that, go, oh, man, I'm telling you, when you're in the dugout, too, and you see that, just flailing out with, backside sticking out, trying to get to that pitch in the left-handed batter's box. You're just like, oh, man. Like, 2 things come to mind. Like, is that breaking ball that nasty? And you're like, maybe it is. And then you go back and watch that little iPad, and you're like, no, this is not good, man. If we're going to be swinging like this is going to be a long one for sure. Yeah, and the bummer about all of it is, and again, it's a reminder. The series is tied. It's now a 3-game series. It's a 3-game series. But the bummer about it is they did exactly what you wanted them to do in both of these games to start. And we talked about it. The keys to get that starter to throw a bunch of pitches early, jump on them quick, get on the scoreboard first, get the crowd into it, and they've done it in both games. In both games, they've forced the starter to throw a bunch of pitches. They scored first. Crowd was into it. Yeah. It's just they were unable to maintain it. So they've certainly shown they're capable of doing for sure what they need to start the game. You just got to maintain it through the game. I know. Yeah, for sure. Dan Wilson after the game talking about how it is that he thinks they get back to playing their style of baseball.
Yeah, I mean, I think, again, doing the things that we do offensively, grinding out our at-bats, getting guys on base and getting them in and driving the ball in the gaps. That's what we do. And on the mound, we attack the zone. And we just need to continue to get back to that. And that's what we do well. And we'll get back to that tomorrow and bounce back from the series.
Yeah, I mean, look, these again, we can lament and hang on to the, just the anger, frustration of those games. They've got to flush it again. Once again, their resiliency is being tested big time. In a very big way because it doesn't get more disappointing than being up 2-0, 2 games from a World Series, going to your home field with 3 to play, and you blow the first 2. I mean, you're not even competitive. Right. So, look, they win today. Everybody, it's a 180. All of a sudden, everybody's going, we just got to win 1 of 2. And for whatever reason, they hit better in Toronto than they've been hitting here. And Toronto didn't hit as well in Toronto as they're hitting here. Yeah, put it this way, too. So you get through that exhausting Game 5, 15 innings. You go off to Toronto, and you're walking into the Lions' den, basically. You're going to a place when you just watch what they did against the Yankees. So you sit there going, man, this is going to be tough. And they're rested.
They're rested.
Yeah.
The crowd's going to be wild. Some of the guys remember that from their first playoff stint there a couple of years back. So you go into Toronto and boom, you take game 1, you take game 2. You get on that plane and fly home, and you're like, oh, great. We took care of business. This is great. We're in the driver's seat. We've talked about this for the last 48 hours. You come home, you have these first couple of games. Now all of a sudden you start to get a little bit exhausted, mentally fatigued, because you're trying to process exactly what's happening. All these big moments start to get to you. Now all of a sudden you're getting the details from traveling secretary about the flight back to Toronto, where you just had to get it done just a couple days ago. It's a long flight back over there. You're walking right back into this scenario where you've just witnessed, from the top step of the dugout, what these guys have just put on a display offensively. I'm telling you, man, you talk about flush it, that's one thing, but at the same time, you have to get out of the car when you park here at T-Mobile Park and walk into the locker room and say, all right, take a breath, one game at a time here. Let's just get this game 5. Who cares about the fact that we have to go back to Toronto? It's all good. Let's just focus on having these good at-bats in inning 1, inning 2, inning 3, and take care of business. Because, man, I'm telling you, in my opinion, who wins this game 5 is, I know this goes without saying because the other team's going to be the next game's an elimination game. But who wins game 5, I think, is going to determine who wins this, who goes on to the World Series.
Yeah, maybe it will. Maybe it will. I don't. For whatever reason, I've got a weird level of confidence in them in Toronto, just based on history. They took them in that series in
maybe
22.
It's something there that makes them feel refreshed and revived and comfortable. I mean,
they did it in 22. They did it in these first 2 games, and maybe they went in there more relaxed in these first 2 games, going, you know what? We need to get 1 of 2. Nobody expects us to win here. We're exhausted. We got starters on short rest. We're looking for 1 of 2. Maybe there wasn't that
absolutely
tension.
Yeah, it's a great point. And then maybe it's a situation with a little bit of loud contact early in that game too. You're like, hang on a minute, we're in good shape here. All I'm saying is, I just know last night watching that, and again, I've been there before where you have to. Okay, now we're going to pack up. I'm a little bit obviously physically, but more so emotionally frustrated or exhausted. Now I'm going to get back and get up to Toronto and just redo everything we just went through to kick off this series. But again, like I said, the biggest, and this goes with everything, but get out of that car when you're walking in the clubhouse, make eye contact, head up, just manufacture some energy with the people you're around, and just say, look, this game 5 is the most crucial game, because whoever wins this is going to win the series.
What's the deal with Andres Jimenez?
I don't know.
This guy hit .210 and 7 home runs in the regular season. 2 home runs so far. He's got a home run in both these games. Crucial. I mean, they've been backbreakers, if you will. But in 101 games this year, 7 home runs.
You know what?
Hitting .210. And this guy is the thorn in your side, along with others, certainly. It's not just him. But it's when guys like that at the bottom of the order do damage that I think really takes the wind out of your sails.
It really does, because all of a sudden you get to a place where, like, okay, you see him walking up to the plate and being there before. You've just had that tough at-bat, and you see him come up to the plate. Okay, if I just make this pitch, it's glass half full mentality. If I'm down and away, weak contact, right? Or, I can be over the middle of the plate and getting a better count here because I don't have to worry about, being in a damage zone where if I make a mistake, he's crushing it with a runner on base. Then he comes up. You mentioned 7 home runs. Maybe he's just one of those guys, man. Tommy Edman last year with the Dodgers. Dude, the dude was hitting 200, comes over in the trade. Everyone's like, okay, I get it, a little bit of the defensive upgrade and whatever else. He just goes off in the playoffs. Then he started going off in the playoffs, same as Kiki Hernandez lately. Yeah. It's just that he's got that mindset where it's like, you know what, not so much, I'm just going to start hitting dingers, but all of a sudden, you know what, I'm hitting 9th. I got nothing to lose here. I'm going to have a good at-bat, and if I see a mistake, I'm getting after it. He's just that guy, man. But it has been tough to handle watching, him down hitting nine hole in the bottom of the line. And I will say this, by the way, I know defensively and everything else, but the reason he was traded from Cleveland, one of the reasons he was traded, and again, I'm not going to tell you my source here, but they've got young Travis Bazzana, who is a second baseman, first pick overall coming up, and they're like, hey, you know what, this is the time. Jimenez's values at a premium, right? Gold Glove defense. See you later. That's how that's how they viewed him. So that, it was, Interesting. It's
that doesn't
been
make
crazy.
me feel any better.
No, it doesn't. All I'm saying is, man, it's just he's just one of those guys.
A reminder, when the ALCF shifts back to Toronto, don't miss the official watch parties at T-Mobile Park. You can catch Game 6 Sunday at 5 p.m. and Game 7, if it's necessary, Monday at 5 p.m. on the biggest screen in Seattle. Just go to mariners.com/watch party to get your tickets today. When you look at this team, I mean, look, the Blue Jays are a very good team. You can't make the mistakes, right? You can't have the base running mistakes we talked about. We can't have, brash with the wild pitch. You can't have those moments, right? I mean, that's if you're Dan, how do you? I don't know. Do you need to reinforce? These guys know that.
They know that. They know it. They know it, man. That was just a really tough pitch where Cal Raleigh, who again no pass balls, but there's a couple wild pitches because you got some nasty stuff in that bullpen. That's just that little where you get handcuffed, right, from a catcher's. We've seen this from Cal, by the way, during the season. You get kind of handcuffed because that ball's getting spiked. He tries to backhand it and try and somehow just cover the ground in front of where that ball's heading, and the ball skips away. And so that's unfortunate. There's nothing there where Dan Wilson's going to walk up and go. Matter of fact, it might be counterproductive if he walks up and he's like, "Hey, Cal, we're going to go work on your blocking," or "Hey, let me show you this video." Because it's just like, all right, bro. Like you've seen me doing this for how many innings now? So it's just the little things that get so magnified in these times.
Yeah, just looking at this team and some of the mistakes that were made, Dan Wilson was asked about the base running mistakes and taking them out of the potential opportunities they had last night.
Yeah, I mean, little things, that is what happens in this time of year, and they can make a big difference, and we've talked about that a lot. And, tonight seemed like that there were a couple situations that hurt us that way.
Yeah. There were a couple, and then he was asked why he thinks they're happening at this point of the season.
I mean, I think, we tend to be aggressive, and, sometimes, when we're aggressive, it can backfire.
Yeah, it's and I'll put that on Naylor's play. He was being he said as much. Look, I'm trying to make something happen. He didn't shy away from it, or on second thought I shouldn't have. He was like, no, look, that's my game. I'm pushing the envelope. It's what I do. Rivas, to me, no excuse. Can happen. You just can't. You cannot have that play happen.
I agree with that 100%. The other part of this is too, you got a guy again, Scherzer. Even I'll throw Bieber in there purely because what he looked like against the Yankees. You have a situation that when you have to throw, when you're teetering on not finding it, as opposed to getting settled in, and all of a sudden you have to throw that 5 extra pitches, that extra 2 at-bats per inning. Man, it gets tougher, way tougher when all of a sudden you have to cover more ground in innings. Then on the flip side, man, when you get that sneaky little double play, like in that first inning, I know it's the first inning, but again, everything is magnified. You pick someone off over first base, or you get they run themselves out of the bases. You're like, oh, okay, now I can press that reset button.
You're like, thank you.
Oh, man, I'm telling you. Trust me, I needed plenty of those innings throughout my career. And I was lucky enough to get some, that's for sure.
All right, coming up, Bryce Miller turned in one of the biggest starts of his life in Game 1, his best start of the season. Can he do that again? We'll get into that conversation next as we continue live from Victory Hall on your home for the Mariners in the American League Championship Series. It is Seattle Sports on 710.
It's time, right? Yeah, okay, push it. We're Seattle sports fans, man. Ain't our first rodeo with the panic button.
The series is tied. The Mariners aren't down.
If the Mariners have taught us anything in 2025, it's that anything is possible.
He's still 2 wins away from going to a World Series.
ALCS Game 5. First pitch today at 3.
And the sellout crowd just waiting to go bonkers.
On Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app.
Comcast Business can help turn your small business into a connected, secure, modern business. It's how restaurants become reliably up and running neighborhood favorites. How healthcare offices become the data-protecting caregivers that we all depend on. And how wealth management firms become cyber-securing guardians of your information. With reliable connectivity, enhanced cybersecurity, and Wi-Fi backup, your business can stay connected and get threat-ready with Comcast Business. Powering possibilities.
Now through November 16th, new Comcast Business customers can get started with 150 megabit internet plus security for $59.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year agreement. Plus, ask how to get a $500 prepaid card on a qualifying gig package. Call today. Restrictions apply. Requires enrollment in paperless billing and auto pay with bank account. Early termination fee applies. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra.
From whiplash to herniated discs, there are a few car accident injuries we've all heard of. J.P. Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains that even the most common injuries differ from one another.
Pre-existing conditions, health history, beginning of treatment. There are hundreds of factors that make every person and every injury unique. While these variables aid medical treatment, the strongest case recoveries must also take them into account.
Could you explain a little bit more?
Our team at Pendergast Law is obsessed with turning over every stone to differentiate each case. This requires thorough investigation, diligent listening, and relentless research. We never pursue cases with a one-size-fits-all approach. We built our success by treating every injury and every case with the individualized attention our clients need and deserve.
Pendergast Law's individualized approach to even the most common injuries makes the difference in case outcomes. It's another reason why I can't recommend them enough.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
Lake Washington Windows was voted best in the Northwest. Celebrate by saving 25% off new Leak Armor installed windows through October. Plus enjoy 0 down, 0 payments, 0 interest until 2026. Visit LakeWashingtonWindows.com, a name you can trust.
Hi, I'm Justin Shirley. We offer 0 down, 0 interest, and 0 payments for 24 months on new roofs. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF now. State Roofing and Exteriors, held to a higher standard since 1968.
Now. We tend not to think about now. We dream about tomorrow, relive yesterday. But sometimes we don't see what's right in front of us. Victory over cancer is in front of us. Right now, cancer research is saving lives. Cancer research funded by the V Foundation is leading to new discoveries and new treatments, and ultimately, one day, victory over cancer. Give to the V Foundation. Right now, 1 out of every 2 men and 1 out of every 3 women will get cancer in their lifetime. Now is your moment. You may save someone you love. 100% of your donation goes directly to game-changing research. 100%. Donate at v.org. Because today's cancer research is tomorrow's victory.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
Want more Seahawks content? Join me, G. Scott, on The Reset. New episodes of the podcast every Monday and Thursday on YouTube or on the Seattle Sports app.
Change is always happening. It's part of life. And when it comes to music, change is all around us. Songs are rewritten. Classics are remixed. Bands and artists come and go. Even our taste in music changes. Here at Xfinity, we know there's still good in keeping some things the same. That's why we want to do our part with a 5-year price guarantee on our internet. It means no matter what changes, you get 5 years of the most reliable Wi-Fi with our best equipment included for a price that stays exactly the same. Surprised? Life is full of them. One internet price, 5 years, guaranteed. Learn more at xfinity.com/deals. Restrictions apply. New residential customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August 2024.
Constipation with belly pain that keeps coming back and back and back. If your symptoms keep coming back, talk to your doctor. It could be irritable bowel syndrome with constipation or IBS-C. Linzess could help you get ahead of it. Linzess linaclotide is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. Talk to your doctor and say yes to Linzess. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
Back to Mariners Pennant Push on Seattle Sports.
We are live at Victory Hall. Bob Stelton, Ryan Rowland-Smith with you, taking you up to Mariners pregame at 2 p.m. 3:08 first pitch right here, Seattle Sports on 710. The text line is there for you at 866-979-3776. You want to weigh in your thoughts on the Mariners? And had somebody, Ryan, when you were talking about the team being exhausted, said, shut up with the exhaustion nonsense. These guys are in their 20s, and they're just playing baseball.
Well,
shut up, Brian.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's fine. Of course. I know they're playing. Look, I know they're playing baseball. I get it. But I'm telling you, if you're going to sit there and say that if you're not mentally exhausted, then you're not trying. Put it that way.
Yeah, I'm
in
sure.
other words,
I bet Cal might have a different take on that.
Exactly.
15 innings of catching.
Exactly. And you know what? Like all these high-level athletes or anyone who does anything high-level, right, first of all, they're not sitting there going, oh, well, I'm not exhausted. No. You should be exhausted. Why? Because you care that much about it. You are so emotionally invested in what you're doing that naturally as a human being, you get exhausted. That's just the byproduct of it. And so the situation is, I'm not sitting here going, oh, well, hey, I'm exhausted. I'm not making excuses. Look, I played this game for 20 years. I played this game professionally my whole adult life. Yeah. And whoever texts that out, I get emotionally exhausted. If I'm not at the end of the day every time I play this game, well, then I'm not going hard enough. That's how hard these dudes are going every single day. And so you get to a place where you leave that game last night and you just have to, take it all in, get some sleep, come back in. That's why I said when you walk back in that locker room today, you just take a breath and you all of a sudden you change your state and you change the way you're interacting with everyone inside that locker room and you piece it together.
Yeah. So I think what Ryan is saying, 360, is no, you shut up.
Yeah, and So if that's the case, dude, he's never played at a high level. There you go. How about that?
Well, the other part of it is they won those two games. We're not saying they lost these last two because they were exhausted. No. They were on full rest.
Absolutely. I'm saying you leave the game. Why? Because you have left everything. You've left nothing to chance at all, and you walk away from it saying you should be mentally exhausted. If you're not going hard enough.
I think Ryan just dropped that guy doesn't know ball.
Correct.
I get it. They're emotional. I'm emotional.
Bring on the text messages. I'll go all day. Have at it.
866-979-3776.
You're not even going to the game. He's going to argue with the text messages all day right here.
Bryce Miller, best start of the season on short rest in the first game. He was outstanding.
Yeah.
They got to look at him. They're going to go back, look at that tape. What did he do? What was effective? What did we miss with him? How does he approach game two? How would you approach it as a guy that went out there and you had your way for the most part with that lineup and pitched a really good game? You're not going to go out there and go, well, I'm going to do exactly what I did in terms of my rhythm, and I went from this pitch to this pitch, and this is how I attack this guy. They're scouting you. You're scouting them back.
For sure. Absolutely. And look, if you go into this with the mindset of saying, oh, well, I have to match what I did game one, then I'm telling you, you're going to be on your back foot, man. That's not a good mentality to go and say, man, I have to live up to what I did in game one, especially the fact that how crucial this game 5 is. You have to go in. I said this early on just with that text message as well. When you are feeling like you are spent a little bit, emotionally, mentally, whatever it is, he has to go into this. I guarantee you he would have gone into game one like this too, where I am emptying the tank from inning one. If I go 3 innings, I don't care. The one thing he did, though, with Bryce Miller, and in regards to Bryce Miller, which I loved, you look at the fastball usage, 4-seam and 2-seam. The velocity was up nearly 1.5 miles on that 4-seam. He was living at the top of the strike zone. Yeah, I know he threw a couple, really good splits and everything else, but those pitches, the reaction you get 60 feet away when you get that bad swing on that pitch, everyone's like, man, his splitter all of a sudden is better. Why? Because you're establishing that hitter. As old school as that sounds, when Bryce Miller is fastball dominant, everything else is better. When he starts going, oh, well, a 2-0, 2-1, I have to start giving different looks and everything else, that's when he starts to slip, and that's when he starts to, quote-unquote, nibble a little bit, which is what he was doing in that first inning. And I think that with him, if you can get to a place where you're above the barrels, when you're spinning at 2,500 RPM, which, by the way, the spin on his fastball, that backspin, which has that ride to it, was up last start, which is huge this time of year. When you can get above the barrel, I'm telling you, man, if they're going to be that aggressive, you're going to get some weak contact or a ton of swing and miss. Get fastball dominant, empty the tank, go back to that Bryce Miller version where it's just I'm unleashing 4-seams at the top of the strike zone. And then you know what? Once you get to good counts, go for that split if need be.
Would you, but with a team that's seen you so recently, would you alter how you attack certain hitters?
No. I would.
So you just go, look, this is what I do. This is what I did, and I'm going to do it again.
Yeah, because, look, one of the values is when you are watching from an analytical or a ball behavior standpoint, right, and this goes into scouting, if you can have, and I didn't have this, if you can be inside the strike zone with a pitch that is, Kevin Gausman has that with his split, which 80% of the time you're going to either get weak contact or swing and miss, knowing there's a high percentage you're going to see it. Man, that's like obviously from a scouting point of view or from a evaluation standpoint, that's gold. Well, he has that with his fastball, and for whatever reason last year, when he said, "Oh, I'm coming up with this grip and throwing this pitch," to me, and he even admitted this to me when we sat down and talked about it. He said, "I need to get back to that fastball dominant type guy," and then the secondary stuff is just the coast, not the co-star. It's like the supporting cast, and that's
right.
it. And so with him, even though they're thinking, okay, he's going to be fastball heavy, 60 feet away, it is just tough to get to some. His fastball is one of those ones, an outlier. When it's at the top of the zone with the good velocity and the 2,500 RPM on the spin, if he's got that, live there, I think. Yeah.
Well, he was talking yesterday and just talking about some of the challenges of facing that lineup, that aggressive lineup again.
Yeah, I think the main thing, just teams in general, whenever you're throwing to a very aggressive lineup compared to one that's not so aggressive, like you have to, really make your pitches. You still want to get ahead. That's what we preach and what we try to do no matter what. Like, you want to get ahead and win your 0-0s and your 1-1s. But you got to be a little more careful, in the early count pitches. You don't want to, just be like, if it's a guy that I know is not going to swing for the most part 0-0, then it's a little easier to, throw it down the middle. And whereas if they're looking to do damage on the first pitch, then you got to, pitch to the edges early and still get ahead. But yeah, you just got to make it a point to make better pitches in those early counts and get to the edges and not just give up the middle part of the plate early.
So that's his take on approaching this lineup. Just give me a thought on how the Mariners approach Gausman for a second time. They didn't light him up the first time. He went 5 2/3, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 5 strikeouts in that. You had Cal was able to take him deep in the 6th inning of that game. So he did give up some damage, but you didn't light him up. So how do you attack him for the second time?
Well, I think that I talked about that split inside the strike zone. He still gets a ton of swing and miss inside the strike zone, which is, look, it's unfortunate. Right? Like when he's on, you're seeing the split, which is below the zone. You get that chase and that bat, that where you caught out in front. You're like, oh man, that split disappeared. But you also get some of that swing and miss in the zone. The approach against someone like Kevin Gausman is, I am going to adjust my angle here with what I'm seeing, top half of the zone. Anything down, you know what? If he lands a fastball down, just tip your cap, because a good chance it's going to be a split and you're going to miss it by 2 feet. So I think that's number one. So you got to hunt pitches that are sitting up, and if you miss a couple splits, whatever. But just eliminate not eliminate pitches, eliminate areas in the strike zone. That's number one. Number two, I think with Kevin Gausman, what can happen sometimes, he gets a little, he falls in love with his splits so much that all of a sudden he starts throwing that pitch, backing it up, where it's going 2-3 pitches in a row. And that's where, if you can be a little bit more disciplined and cut down on the chase on that pitch, you're going to get to some better counts. And all of a sudden, that's where the command can go a little bit, can get a little bit away from him. And that's really important as well. But again, when you watch the damage against Kevin Gausman, he is prone, not a whole lot, but he can give it up if he's going to sit middle of the plate. And you have you are hunting pitches upper part of the strike zone.
Yeah, so if he leaves one out, the thing is you got to make him pay for that mistake.
Yes, and the other part is too
not foul at all.
Yes, and the split too. Look, the split at that point, if it is sitting up and it doesn't have that depth to it, it acts more like a changeup, and you can catch that pitch out front as well, even as well as a fastball.
Meanwhile, Brian Woo's role has been shrouded in mystery, but what could we see out of him today? We'll get into that next as we continue live from Victory Hall on your home for the Mariners in the American League Championship Series at Seattle Sports on 710.
It's time, right? Yeah, okay, push it. We're Seattle sports fans, man. Ain't our first rodeo with the panic button.
The series is tied. The Mariners aren't down.
If the Mariners have taught us anything in 2025, it's that anything is possible.
He's still 2 wins away from going to a World Series.
ALCS Game 5. First pitch today at 3.
And the sellout crowd just waiting to go bonkers.
On Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app.
This is for all you guys on Viagra. ED pills are no longer needed. The brutal side effects like 4-hour headaches, blurred vision, and that flush feeling can all be put behind you with our treatment. Here at West Coast Men's Health, we have a better approach to ED. Acoustic wave therapy creates blood flow circulation by safely removing the plaque in your arteries and restoring function naturally. Guys, let me be clear. Pills will never fix your problem. Our equipment is the latest technology, and our medical staff is the best in the industry. So give West Coast Men's Health a call today. Speak with our clinic manager. Ask him any question you like, how it works, the science behind it, and even the cost. If you suffer from ED or Peyronie's disease, give West Coast Men's Health a call today. It's not just about better health. It's about a better life.
With clinics in Redmond and Tacoma, call 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com.
Do you have a car you want to sell, but you just don't want to go through all the hassle? With all the scams and security risks out there, more and more people just aren't comfortable selling their own car. So how do you get the most money for your used car without having to sell it yourself? Stacy here with the answer. It's Wayscar Ford in Auburn. Not only will they purchase your car and pay you right up front for it, but it gets way better. Once they resell your old car, they share half that profit with you. The question I get most from friends and colleagues is, well, what's the catch? How can they offer this? It's actually super simple. All the money they save by not traveling to buy cars at auctions, like purchase fees, shipping, and travel expenses, is what allows them to offer this. They'd rather share that money they save with you rather than outside vendors. They encourage you to shop around, but look, if Wayscar Ford can pay the same or more as competitors and then share half their profit with you once they resell your car, why would you sell your car anywhere else? They've already shared over $800,000 with their customers, and it's only at Wayscar Ford. WayscarFord.com. Check them out today, WayscarFord.com.
Dave Wyman here, and after 20 years of living in our home, our window seals started breaking. That's when I called Harley Exteriors. They're huge fans of our teams and regular listeners at the station, but what really sold me was their Olympic Series windows, built right here in Washington, designed for Pacific Northwest homes and climate. That means cooler in the summer, warmer in the winter. They're beautiful windows that last up to 60 years, and they'll help with noise, too. Harley Exteriors knows you've been spending a ton on playoff tickets, so they have a special deal for Seattle sports listeners. No interest and no payments for an entire year. Also, buy one window and get the second one 40% off, and take another $200 off your entire project. They're the friendliest team and so easy to work with. You call the number and the person on the other line asks, "How can I make you smile today?" Just give them a ring and tell them you heard our ad. Call 833-HARLEY. That's 833-HARLEY, or go to harleyexteriors.com.
As a quarterback, you cannot run a winning play with a messy playbook. And most companies' data, well, it's a mess. AI is changing the game, but if your data is scattered, you're stuck on the sidelines. Brock Heward here, and this is where my friends at Marquee Data come in. They get your data in shape, clean, connected, ready to perform, so you can finally put AI to work for your business. Whether sales, finance, or operations, every smart move starts with the right data. So head to mydataqb.com to draw up your game-winning data play today. That's Marquee Data or mydataqb.com.
Home of your American League West Division champion Mariners, Seattle Sports.
Eric Johnson here. I spent the past 30 years working to help make our community better informed, better protected when it comes to consumer issues, and better equipped to take on whatever life throws at us. That's why I love the free Washington Accident book series from Davis Law Group. These books keep us better informed about the law, better able to protect ourselves on and off the road, and better off when all is said and done after an accident. Chris Davis didn't have to write these books. He did it because he saw a need. People who were in accidents or other legal situations didn't know what to do, what pictures to take, documents to request. Only a tiny fraction of the people who get these free books will ever become clients of Davis Law Group, but that's not the point. Chris wrote them because it was the right thing to do. The free Washington Accident book series is a must-have for drivers who want to be prepared for whatever the road might throw at them. Get yours at WashingtonAccidentBooks.com.
Comcast Business can help turn your small business into a connected, secure, modern business. It's how restaurants become reliably up and running neighborhood favorites. How healthcare offices become the data protecting caregivers that we all depend on. and how wealth management firms become cyber-securing guardians of your information. With reliable connectivity, enhanced cybersecurity, and Wi-Fi backup, your business can stay connected and get threat-ready with Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Now through November 16th, new Comcast Business customers can get started with 150 megabit internet plus security for $59.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year agreement. Plus, ask how to get a $500 prepaid card on a qualifying gig package. Call today. Restrictions apply. Requires enrollment in paperless billing and auto pay with bank account. Early termination fee applies. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra.
This is Mariners Pennant Push
on Seattle Sports.
We continue live from Victory Hall. Bob Stelton, Ryan Rowland-Smith with you, taking you up to the Mariners pregame show, which will begin at 2 p.m. Game 5 of the American League Championship Series coming your way. You can catch it all starting right at 2 o'clock with the Mariners pregame show, 3:08 first pitch. Seattle Sports on 710. It'll be Bryce Miller on the hill. Text line is there for you at 866-979-3776. People weighing in. There's a strong level of optimism out there. I mean, certainly you can complain about it last night. They give you plenty of material, but
I feel like everyone I've ran into is like, oh man, this is not good. You know, like just away from the ballpark too. Like this morning, you know, downtown Edmonds, people bumping into me. I was like, man,
the mean streets of Edmonds down
right. there. Yeah, but I'm thinking to myself, man, like they're 2 games away from going to their first ever World Series. Keep that in mind a little bit. You know, maybe that's that we're talking about, like mentally how you're feeling if you're one of these players. Maybe walk in the clubhouse and say, man, we're just 2 wins away. We're good.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can tell they've kind of they've chunked this off to say, okay, now it's a best of 3 series. You hear that a lot now. Dan Wilson mentioned it. A couple of the players said that last night as well.
Yeah.
Guarantee that's kind of
what it is.
Yeah, the throw around.
It's now a 3-game series.
Yeah.
One of these teams got to win 2 of them. It may as well be the Mariners.
Mm-hmm.
As Cal said, they might as well win the whole bleeping thing. So that is still within their grasp. And it's, you know, look, I feel like we almost got spoiled quickly because you're one of 4 remaining teams in all of Major League Baseball. The rest are on the couch at home watching all of this.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? I'm not saying be satisfied with this, and if they lose, well. I will be just as disappointed, frustrated, angry as any fan out there. Trust me on that. But let's keep things in perspective as to where this team currently sits right now.
Yeah, for sure. I will say this, though. I was leaving the ballpark last night. I was walking with Shannon Dre. We did the post-game show last night. We're leaving the ballpark and walking. I brought this up to her. I said, look, that Game 5 of the ALDS was so epic, right? And it brought back memories of, 1995 and everything else, right? And you're thinking, like, wow, this is going to be something going to play over and over and over. Like we see with 1995 when Edgar hit the double and everything else. And then, 116-win season. But for whatever reason, this year, I just – and no one does. I guarantee you, anyone texting in doesn't want to be like, hey, how epic was Game 5 if all of a sudden they fall short in this series. Why?
Right.
Because they took 2 games away from the Blue Jays in their home park with home field advantage, and you literally you came home to your home ballpark to play those middle games with a 2-0 lead. It
created a different expectation.
It created a different expectation, and and to me, every time they show Polanco getting that hit and 15 innings, I'll be like, yeah, but I'm just saying, if things go south here in the next couple of games, like you mentioned, the fact that you're this deep, it's amazing. It's been a successful year. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But from my perspective, I guarantee a lot of the fans out there too from this team, are sitting there going, yeah, but you know what? You were 2-0 in this series, taking 2 from Toronto.
And that's fair. Distance will give it better perspective down the road.
For sure.
But in the aftermath, right out of the gate, no, nobody's going to be happy and go, well, that was a pretty fun Game 5, wasn't it? Nobody wants to hear that, and I don't want to talk about it.
Right.
But I get it. I get it. It's part of the fun. Part of the fun is the anguish that goes along with playoff baseball. And again, the idea that they were going to sweep this team. Yeah, look, I love those 2 games more than anybody in Toronto, but I came out of it going, Toronto's not going to be that team for 4 straight games. They're just, that lineup is loaded.
Yeah.
And they found it. There's a reason they are the number 1 seed. You're not being beaten by a bunch of slappies out there.
Yeah.
So that appears to be the prevailing. I can't believe they lost to this team. I can't believe they let this guy shut you down. That guy shut you down. I'm like, yeah, they had the best record in the American League, man.
You know what's interesting, too, and just about that lineup, and you mentioned the first 2 games, they've shuffled their lineup around. We talked about, can you move Randy out of the leadoff spot?
We'll talk about that coming up because there is a lineup change for those that
But we literally talked about that before Game 3.
Oh, yeah.
Do you shuffle the lineup? And, again, my perspective was
I talked about it before the playoffs started.
and again, I'll admit, my perspective was, no, like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Cal seems to like hitting behind Randy, Julio, and so on. But the Blue Jays, on the other hand, man, they've messed that lineup around a ton.
Yeah.
With Lucas and now all of a sudden Connor Falafa in there.
And they're doing it without Bo Bichette.
Right.
Yeah.
It was just interesting when you're looking at how they've kind of structured the way they're coming out every day with that lineup.
By the way, 727, I guess that's Florida. Today is my brother's 57th birthday. We've been Mariner fans for life. Please give my brother Bill a shout out. All he wants for his birthday is a Mariners win.
There you go, 727. That's like Clearwater, like Tampa, Florida area.
Look at you, just
How about
specific.
that? Boom.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Well,
happy birthday, brother Bill. And I'm hoping the Mariners can give you a win. We'll do everything we can, but it's really up to the guys that are on the field there. So hopefully the Mariners will come through for it, for you on your birthday.
How are you a Blue Jays fan in Tampa, Florida, I wonder?
Blue Jays? No, Mariners.
Sorry, excuse me. I was looking at Blue. Mariners fan.
Maybe they lived here and had to move at some point for work or something.
Well, can we find out? No, I'm kidding.
Are we that? You want to get that invested in their life story?
If Mike Lefko can do his digging here. No, I'm kidding.
Meanwhile, Brian Wu is a guy we've been wondering about. He's available. They've walked him out to the bullpen. Dan Wilson, during pregame yesterday, was asked about the potential challenges for Wu in coming out of the bullpen.
You know, I think obviously it's a different kind of a role. You know, he had a chance to do it in the All-Star game, so maybe a little bit of experience coming out of a pen. But you know, again, this is the time of year where you ask people to do things that they're not as comfortable doing or they haven't done as much. But you know, he's got a wealth of people that will help him. You know, The Rock, Logan Gilbert did it recently. They can help. So I think he'll be in good shape. And again, I think he's excited to get back out there.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see whenever it is he does. And I would make an appearance, and I would think it would be in this game, unless all of a sudden Bryce Miller just shoves and goes 9 innings. Mm-hmm. We're going to see, you know, depending on the situation, score, and all of that. I don't think you're going to use him unless you really have to, because he's a potential starter for, you know, one of the 2 remaining games in Toronto. But it's going to be interesting just to see how he adjusts to coming out of the bullpen. And you and I talked a bunch about that on the air and off the air, because you've done both. So and talked about just the challenges and really the different mentality you have to have coming out of that bullpen.
Well, he mentioned the guys who, because we talked about this yesterday. Hey, should he lean on, you know, Brash or a Munoz? And I did mention, I said, look, no, I think you should lean on a Logan Gilbert or The Rock or, you know, Luis Castillo back coming out of the bullpen, because they've been in a similar situation, or Emerson Hancock for that matter. But at this point, you can pretty much rule out Brian Wu starting. I'd even say getting to the World Series even, simply because he's coming from a simulated game of around 30-something pitches. Man, like, unless you look at him and say, okay, we just want to get him off to a good start and open situation. But without that, man, it's a roll of the dice. It really is. As good as Brian Wu is, don't get me wrong, man. I love watching him pitch and everything else. You just simply don't know what it's going to look like at game speed. He just hasn't had that for pretty much a month now, since that Astros game, and where he went 5 innings, you know, and it was brilliant. But, man, you really just don't know what you got. And for that matter, too, I mean, you've got one sim game up in Toronto where I guarantee it's a little bit more relaxed and having some fun. It's not like Cal's behind the plate catching him.
In a 47,000 or whatever the stadium there holds, screaming.
Right, exactly. You basically got the bullpen catcher behind there. You know, facing guys, and it's a way more relaxed setting. It's just hard to really know exactly if it's a situation where the game is on the line. Now, if they got a 7-run lead and you roll him out, have at it. Or, you know, if you're down, you don't want to be down by 5, but if you're down, roll out, see what he looks like maybe, potentially, and then you could have a weapon for the last couple of games, and then so on to the World Series.
The other part is they're not going to bring him in with traffic, right? You'd assume they're bringing him in a clean inning.
Yeah.
Regardless of score, let's get him in there to start the inning.
Yeah, and to my point, this is going to be the best case scenario here. is teams up by 6.
Yeah.
Even then, I'm like, man, you just still don't know what you're going to get from Brian Wu, even in that case.
Yeah, I don't think I'd put him in there.
It's tough, yeah. And
if you got a chance to lock it down with certainties.
Right, and again, like I said, walking the mean streets of Edmonds this morning, and everyone's hit me up about, what do you think of the Mariners? Like, I can't wait to see Brian Wu. When's he coming out? I'm like, well, do you really want to see him? Because, I don't see him coming in like a 2-0 game and covering innings, because you really don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
Be walking on eggshells if I saw that. And that's nothing against him. He's been amazing. He's an all-star season. But,
he's been your best pitcher.
Yeah.
Yeah. One more before the break here from Dan Wilson from yesterday. Asked whether or not having Wu not start is because he isn't fully built his pitch count back up.
Obviously something we considered and talked about, getting him in a game, will also allow us to, just kind of see how he is and where he's at, and that's important too. So, we kind of have to wait and see how these games develop and what happens. But again, we're excited to find a spot for him and get him out there.
Yeah, so we'll see what his endurance is like, where they put him in, what the situation is. Yeah. It's going to be good to see him pitch again. That'll be for sure, and hopefully he's a guy that's.
Crowd would get nuts there.
Oh, yeah.
I think coming in the bullpen be epic. Yeah.
All right, coming up, Mariners have made a few big changes in their lineup. We're going to get into all of that coming up next as we continue live from Victory Hall right here on your home for the Mariners in the American League Championship Series, Seattle Sports on 710.
What a turn of events we have seen in this American League Championship Series.
Now tied at 2-2.
The M's need to get more from the top part of their lineup.
We knew it wasn't going to be easy.
Today, the Mariners aim for a 3-2 series lead and pull within 1 win away from the first World Series in franchise history.
This team is really resilient. We believe in each other and we want to come back.
First pitch at 3. Mariners Pennant Push pregame starts at noon on Seattle Sports on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
What if you had the smartest Wi-Fi? If you did, it'd be Xfinity, of course, and it'd come with their best state-of-the-art equipment. It would boost speeds to the devices that needed them most, prioritizing your most important connections, whether you were streaming, gaming, or gaming while pretending to work. And it would let you stream 4. That's right, 4 games on one screen. It would even power your mobile connection so you could bring faster, secure Wi-Fi speeds with you where you use it most. It would be proactive and fix problems before you knew you had them. Impressive, right? And it would have security features that protect you from threats at home and online. Kinda like a force field for your life. If you had the smartest Wi-Fi, well, everything would work together seamlessly to keep you connected, no matter what. Xfinity. Imagine that. Restrictions apply.
I had a young woman who was on a new SUV, and she had attachments to her old car because it was her first car, and she had questions because she was doubling her spending budget, and she was very fiscally responsible. It was almost making her sick. And the best path at that point was to let's stop for the night and you go home and take a breath. She came back in the morning and bought the car. She was way happier. These are major life accomplishments. You have the ability to afford at this tier. You've secured one of the major needs in your life. You should be feeling a tremendous amount of pride and respect for your accomplishments. I'm just grateful that we get to celebrate it with them, that we get to be part of it in that aspect of it.
The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto family.
I'm Scott Hansen, host of NFL Red Zone. Lowe's knows Sundays hit different when you earn them. We've got you covered with outdoor power equipment from Cobalt and everything you need to weatherproof your deck with Trex decking. Plus, with lawn care from Scott's and, of course, Pit Boss grills and accessories, you can get a home field advantage all season long. So get to Lowe's, get it done, and earn your Sunday. Lowe's, official partner of the NFL.
When you bundle renters and auto with Progressive, you can save while protecting your most valuable possessions, like your really expensive limited edition sneakers and your new suit for your cousin's wedding. Except you never actually bought the suit because you can't stop buying sneakers. So you show up to the wedding looking like you're going grocery shopping. But hey, at least your sneakers will look good in the pictures. Until you're cropped out of every last one of them. So go ahead and get Progressive, so you can save while protecting the things that matter to you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
I'm Scott Hansen, host of NFL Red Zone. Lowe's knows Sundays hit different when you earn them. We've got you covered with outdoor power equipment from Cobalt and everything you need to weatherproof your deck with Trex decking. Plus, with lawn care from Scott's and, of course, Pit Boss grills and accessories, you can get a home field advantage all season long. So get to Lowe's, get it done, and earn your Sunday. Lowe's, official partner of the NFL.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with a Capital One Saver card, so let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver card is at table 27, and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want a boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Put it all together and you've got what you need to turn things all the way up. Getting started is simple. Just go to hims.com/joy to start your free online visit. Through Hims, you can access ED treatments including pills, chews, and more. 100% online. No office visits, no pharmacy lines. Just fill out a simple intake form and a licensed medical provider will determine if treatment's right for you. If prescribed, it ships free and discreetly to your door. Find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy, HIMS.com/JOY.
Baseball's postseason is here. Seattle Sports Playoff coverage is presented by Honey Bucket, 710 KIRO AM Seattle and KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
Well, it's become a 3-game series now as the Toronto Blue Jays tie things up after winning last night. They've taken the first 2 games here in Seattle. The third of these games here at T-Mobile taking place this afternoon. The Mariners sending Bryce Miller to the hill to face off against Kevin Gausman. You can catch it all right here starting at 2 p.m. with the pregame show. 3:08 first pitch right here, Seattle Sports on 710.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
This hour is brought to you by Mazda of Everett.
Welcome to the Mariners Pennant Push.
The Seattle Mariners are champions in the American League West.
Special pregame coverage counting you down to first pitch in the American League Championship Series.
It is on its way. It is history. Cal Raleigh stands alone.
The countdown to first pitch starts now.
We are live at Victory Hall. Bob Stelton, Ryan Rowland-Smith with you, taking you up to the Mariners pregame show, which begins at 2 p.m. right here, Seattle Sports on 710. You guys can text in. Text line is there for you at 866-979-3776. Something we had talked a lot about coming into this series, and even before the postseason started, Ryan, was the lineup. And do you do anything differently?
Yeah.
Do you make some adjustments? And we've seen them adjust at the bottom of the lineup. They put Rivas in there last night. They took Robles out. You see Canzone in there. They've had Garver at times, but the top has been static. They've left that pretty much the same. Mm-hmm. That has changed. The lineup is out. In case you missed it, Julio Rodriguez will be leading off in this game for your Seattle Mariners, followed by Cal. Jorge Polanco hitting third. Josh Naylor hitting cleanup. Randy Arozarena dropped down to fifth. Gino Suarez hitting sixth. You got JP bumped up to the seventh spot. Dominic Canzone playing right field, hitting eighth. And then Leo Rivas rounding out your nine. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, again, Bob, to your credit, you were talking about shaking up this lineup. before Game 3. Or I mean, you talked about but for us, for my purposes here, sitting next to you, we talked about the lineup, and I said, and I'll admit, I said no, just leave it as is, man. That was easy coming off the 2 games in Toronto, but it gets to a point with Randy. You mentioned the at-bat last night against Max Scherzer. You can't have at-bats like that at the top of the lineup. With the swing and miss involved, and especially if you're not hitting. He simply isn't hitting. And this is a guarantee a conversation we had before yesterday, and said if this continues, we're going to have to make a switch. And so I'm all for this, man. I'm with you now in regards to switching up. Just shake it up. Press the reset button a little bit too. With when you walk into the clubhouse, by the way, you walk in, and a lot of times too, you don't know, like it's not like this big team meeting, hey, this is going to be the lineup tomorrow. You walk in, you look up on the board and see your name, boom, there you are, hitting 1 or 2, or JP hitting 7th. You look, then you go to your locker, and you get ready for the day.
Nobody's calling you into the office to say, hey, here's what we're doing.
Well, I think with Julio last night, I guarantee you Julio last night, or a text message this morning, or maybe a phone call, say, hey, man, we need you to lead off. He wasn't comfortable doing that. He did a little bit at the beginning of the year, too, this year, but they really tried him to be the leadoff hitter to get, especially in a regular season, to get a ton of at-bats and, obviously the speed aspect. He wasn't comfortable doing that, for a couple different reasons. One, he felt like he was getting rushed to that first at-bat, coming in from center field, especially with the pitch clock and everything involved. But that's a conversation I guarantee they would have said, hey, Julio, listen, man, whether it's, Seitz or Bobby Magianis or with Dan, saying, look, we're going to put you up in the leadoff spot. And he'd be like, yeah, hey, let's go, because obviously of what's happened the last couple games. But I like this shake-up. I like the fact Rivas is back in there. I know you mentioned the, the base running blunder with him. I love the fact Polanco's hitting third as well.
Yeah.
So
would you, knowing that Julio has said, I don't love hitting leadoff, and for what you just talked about, especially at home, they're on defense. Their half of the inning is done. He's got to run in from center field. He likes, I guess, a certain amount of time to get ready.
Routine,
yeah. So that gets rushed as the leadoff hitter. Would you have considered somebody? I was asking you before we came on the air when we saw the lineup change. Well, what about somebody who's rolling right now? Would you think about putting Naylor in that spot? And we looked it up. He's had 2 games?
2 games,
in his career in that spot.
Career,
So maybe he's not. I was just thinking, all right, if Randy's not your guy, are there other options besides the guy who's kind of come out and said, yeah, I don't love it? He's going to do it, and maybe it works, but would you have thrown JP back in there perhaps, or would you have thought about Naylor?
Out of all these candidates, JP would be my closest here in regards to putting in the leadoff spot. If Naylor's only done it twice, for whatever reason he's done it, and you don't want a situation where you tell Josh Naylor, hey, listen, you're going to hit leadoff, and he walks around and he's like, all right. And then all of a sudden he's got this, now I've got to take this on, even though I'm trying to get my bats and everything dialed in. I wouldn't put Josh Naylor up there at the top of the lineup. But let's not forget, too, when this trade happened, which included Josh Naylor and then Gino, I remember asking Dan Wilson, I said, hey, how are you going to shovel these pieces in now?
Yeah.
Some people are going to get upset because they've dipped in the lineup when they're really comfortable hitting 3 or 4, and now they're going to be pushed down or whatever. And the hard decision he had to make was that leadoff spot. Who is going to be hitting leadoff? And a lot of that was because in a couple of weeks from then, Victor Robles was coming back. If you remember, he was leading off at the beginning of the season.
Right.
And he said, look, at this time right now, Randy Rosarina is having good at-bats, and he's swinging it, which he was at that time. He was on a nice little hot streak. Well, he stayed in the leadoff spot through thick and thin. But at this point in the situation now, man, they haven't really had that perfect candidate for a leadoff spot. And so I think that's interchangeable. When you start messing around with, Cal hitting behind someone else, and you mentioned Josh Naylor sliding up in the leadoff spot, that's when it gets a little tougher mentally for some of these guys to walk in and have to take that on as well as have their at-bats. But, this makes perfect sense. I guarantee Julio is like, yeah, let's go. All good. I'll sprint a little quicker in from center field. Give myself more time to try on the 6 different batting gloves or whatever it is.
Whatever the routine. Condense it.
Right.
What do you think of the idea that Robles is now 2 games where he's not in the lineup?
Did we get any clarity in regards to the just pure performance?
I was asking around about, because we talked about the game before last night where he had made the catch going up against the wall, and you saw him after he made that catch kind of moving that shoulder around, did I tweak it? And then he's not in the lineup the next day. And everybody said no, there was no word about injury. He's fine. He was out there doing drills before the game. So I guess purely performance. Now, you got a righty and Gosman coming in there, so you're going to go, I guess, with your lefty matchup in Canzone. And look, his defense wasn't costly last night. He didn't make any mistakes in right field.
Yeah.
I think Robles is a better defender. I don't think that's really up for debate. And Canzone had that soft single last night, so maybe he starts feeling. But it's not like he's been tearing it up. Robles has been struggling. They've both been struggling. So you got two struggling hitters, and you've got one of them who plays a much better defense. So it's interesting that they're sticking with this.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting, too? When you think of the platoon situation against Gosman, right? Lefties actually struggled a little bit more against Gosman, hitting lower batting average than righties did, too, right? And a big reason why is because of that split. Can Dominic Canzone handle that split where he's at right now? Look, we talked about how, a couple of things yesterday that stood out to me. Hitting with 2 strikes was really good during the season. Hitting lefty, left on left, means he's seeing the ball. I know Gosman's not left-handed. I'm saying meaning you're seeing plus pitches or tougher pitches, but hasn't been the same in the last week or so, especially in these playoffs. So with this one for me, man, I know Victor hasn't been performing the way you'd want him to, but this is a tough one, man. I go back and forth with Dominic Canzone and Victor Robles on this situation, especially against Gosman too. He can't. The split doesn't have the same effect against righties that it does against lefties.
Yeah, so a little curious move, and maybe it'll be a short leash if he goes up there and he's flailing in that first AB against Gosman. Maybe they go, all right, let's switch here. Everything's on the table. I don't know if they've got a quick hook there or how they're going to view his plate appearance.
Just on that too, and just back to the split, which is going to be pay attention, man. If they're getting good swings on that split, that's going to be a big key for them against Gosman. Now, but I'll take that back a little bit. The split's been pretty good against righties too, so it's a bit of a muchness there in regards to the lefty against that split to righties as well. Sorry, I just want to make sure I've made that clear.
Yeah, as far as how this impacts others in the light, look, there are other guys that need to come through, and Gino is number one on that list.
100%.
He has got to get something figured out up there. He had a soft single, which was good, but you brought him in to do damage. And to this part, I think it's fair to say, look, it's been a bit disappointing what he's brought to the table since he's been here in terms of on the field. I think there's tremendous value to his presence. We saw how the team responded to his presence when he got on the plane that night and just what it meant to that clubhouse, what it said to that clubhouse as far as the ownership believing in this team. So there's value beyond what the stats say. Having said that, he's got to step it up.
Yes.
He has got to come through, and his strike zone looks huge. I mean, if you're out there, I've got to imagine you're salivating going, oh, I can get this guy to chase up, down, in, out. It doesn't seem like, is he guessing, or he doesn't seem to have a plan, so to speak, where he's eliminating this part of the strike zone. If it's here, I'm not offering at it. I'm looking for something in this spot, and that's where I'm focused.
Yeah, I touched on this a little bit yesterday. When he was going through his struggles, we're in Kansas City, and talking to the hitting coaches, they just said everything feels like I'm seeing the pitch, but it's taken off on me. Fastball's just riding on me. That breaking ball's just taken off. And so it's something where if you're trying to figure out that swing, or you're just not seeing the ball like you were, it makes it tough. But with all that being said, man, I mean, you hit 49 home runs in the regular season, and it has been, you talk about that energy too. Yeah. He came over in that trade, everyone was fired up to see him.
Right.
I think the expectations with Julio and his role changed from when he was in the Mariners uniform before that. He knows that too. He knew that he was struggling. He wasn't, up to par with what the anticipation was. And his energy lacked. It did. Like in that last month, man, it wasn't the same Gino.
Yeah.
Because it's hard. And I'm not blaming him. I'm saying I get it. When you're struggling, because you care so much, you want to be the dude. You want to be the dude who's hit 49 bombs, right, in a season. And so it's been tough. And I'm with you, man. If you gave me one dude in this lineup that you need to figure some things out, like right now, like in the next 5 minutes in the batting cage, it's you, big man, because you're a huge part of this team in regards to the tone you set in that dugout, in that clubhouse. And, man, when you do big things at the box, everything changes.
What do you want to see if you were the hitting coach and you were talking to the lineup today? How do you want him to approach Gosman for the second time? Do you say, look, we need to exercise patience. You need to focus on this area of the zone, and anything outside of that, you're just letting it go, and if it's a strike, so well? Or are you like, look, you get a cookie on that first pitch, jump on it.
Right.
No getting down 0-1, 0-2 in the count, and then he's forcing you to chase. How do you approach it?
Yeah, I think, again, tough. As someone who they've seen a lot, they've seen in this environment too, multiple times now in the core of that lineup. But, you know, from a approach standpoint, two things. Number one, with Kevin Gausman, like he can get real splitter heavy. And then all of a sudden, the toughest pitch to command outside of a knuckleball is a split.
Right.
Like to land that in the strike zone for a field pitch is so difficult. Like so difficult. Even he splits different to Logan Gilbert's, and it's different to George Kirby's when he was throwing it, because that's more of a no spin, just a straight, you know, more of a forkball kind of action. Really tough to dial in and land.
And do it consistently.
Do it consistently. Gausman's a little bit different. He split is more of that, like that power split finger, like a Roger Clemens, where it still has rotation to it, but it just has that dead rotation, and it just dives. Now, with all that being said, it's a tough pitch to land. If he falls in love with that split, man, you have to all of a sudden be a little bit more patient. And everyone says, well, you don't want to get to 2 strikes against him. But sometimes what happens with Gausman, he gets to 2-0, 2-1 count, split. He starts pitching away from damage, or goes to that safety net, knowing I'm not going to get hard contact. And you have to force him into a situation where he has to land that pitch 2 times in that at-bat. And it's tough to do. If he does, I tip your cap. The other part of this is too, and just kind of setting your sights, pick a spot in that strike zone. Pick a spot that's elevated. Look for anything a little bit high, a little more eye level, and I think you're going to have a way higher percentage that's going to be something straight that you can get after.
So you're just going to eliminate
anything
the bottom half.
Yeah, anything that's headed towards the lower part of that strike zone. Look, if he lands it, again, tip your cap, man, because a lot of the times that pitch is going to be a split.
Yeah.
You know, and it's going to be something that dives, and you're not going to have any chance against it.
Yeah, it's a fascinating chess match when you've seen somebody so recently, and you're seeing them again. So it's the same for the Blue Jays looking at Miller. They're having the same conversation.
Right, but with Kevin Gausman, there's no tricks here. It's fastball split. And
that's it.
And by the way, I can sit here and go, oh, hey, look, that slider can be really bad. You're not going to get it, man. You're not going to get in those big counts. That slider can just kind of cement mix on him. He's going to get fastball split. Like it's game 7, 9th inning. It's just going to be 50-50 split fastball. So there's no guess. There's no trick in here. That's just what it is.
Yeah. Cal Raleigh talking about, you know, how they go about avoiding what's happened in terms of the lineup the past 2 nights.
Yeah, just I mean, to me, it's just, you know, we've fell behind, give that big crooked number, and then you know let the starter get comfortable there, and it's kind of happened the past 2 nights. So we just got to keep the pressure on. You know, even if there is a number given up, you know, we have to keep the pressure on and play our game, and we just kind of, you know, tough at bats like we've been doing the first 2 games.
Yeah. So I mean, they've sort of achieved the goal to start each of the last 2 games, as we talked about. They got the starter to throw a bunch of pitches in the first inning. They jumped on him early, they scored first, got the crowd going, and the whole thing. It's just, what did they do that changed? Was it their approach, or was it the starting pitcher that adjusted in your mind?
Yeah, a little bit of both. You can't take, you know, all the credit away from Bieber and from Max Scherzer. Like, again, and I'm a little bit more pitcher biased too, because I was watching those guys. I always try and put myself in their shoes and say, okay, you know, how would I attack this or attack that? So they did a good job of settling in. It doesn't hurt the fact that, you know, Shane Bieber got a 5-run spot there in the 5 spot there in the 3rd inning. That helps. But on the flip side too, with the Mariners, there's a little bit more of that. The chase just went up, and we've seen this lineup at times. I mean, even going back to last year, the Cal Raleigh, the strikeout rate can go up on him. Obviously, Randy, the strikeout rate can go up. Gino, the strikeout rate can go up. So we saw a little bit of that elevated where it wasn't so much just punching out, but the swing and miss all of a sudden came into it. And that's where I think that's where it allowed Bieber and Max Scherzer to get to a place that, yeah, man, you know, I can be outside the strike, so I'm going to get that chase.
As far as attacking the individuals in that lineup, we've talked about it. Everybody's kind of taken turn. We talked about Jimenez, who's had 7 total home runs all year. He's hit home runs in back-to-back games. But you got 2 guys who are really doing damage in Vladdy, of course, who's one of the elite players in the game. So it's not like you got some scrub out there beating you. And George Springer, as much as, you know, can't stand the fact that he's a cheater and he'll always be that Astro guy. Even his outs have been loud. I feel like he's been just squaring the ball up, just seeing the ball regardless. Yes. So do you And there were moments like we were talking last night, like, yeah, should they put him on in that situation? And then brought out Pizzardo as opposed to Spire. And all right, we can second guess all of those moves. But do you start being, I don't know, do you start approaching those two guys in particular in a different fashion than you have? Maybe being more careful or being more likely to put them on and attack the guy behind them?
I think you have to. I mean, I was a little shocked that when I was seeing, to be honest with you, Gabe Spire, as much as, I love the dude and back him all the time, but just seeing him pitching to Springer last night was interesting with an open base there. And then also, too, you've got Lucas right after him, left-on-left matchup that you can get after and get that second out. I was surprised. I was like, whoa, you're around the strike zone here? Like, it's one thing to try and bury the slider, see if you can get a chase, and then, you know what, just go 4 and save your bullets for Lucas and get your head around that as quick as you can. A little surprised about that. And then Vlad Guerrero, dude. I mean, there's two hitters right there that Vlad Guerrero, if you can get a Matt Brash type swing and miss quality against him and a Munoz quality for those last two at-bats, the first couple, okay, you might have to move around because Alejandro Kirk hasn't done a whole lot in these last couple games. Even though all this lineup has just been going nuts, it's not like Kirk's just been going off like we saw in that last series. So if I'm Vlad Guerrero, the first two at-bats, or even a George Springer, they're the two guys that, you know what, I'm pitching around in a spot for sure. The last two, you have to try and navigate this where Vlad is going to see Matt Brash or a Munoz and no one else, like late in the game, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Those last two at-bats, however you can in these last two at-bats. And like I said, Kirk, I'm a little bit more comfortable pitching to him and Varsho right behind him. Varsho hasn't been doing a whole lot either, knock on wood. So that's kind of how I'd attack that. And Lucas, to me, if I've got a situation here where I'm facing a Jimenez and then a Springer and then a Lucas, all right, I'm going Jimenez, not pitching to Springer, and I'm going Lucas left on left.
If you do go after, you're in a situation where you don't have the luxury of putting Springer on or pitching around him, and same with Vladdy.
Yeah.
Where are the holes, especially with Vladdy, because it feels like he's hitting things off the plate. He's taking that outside pitch and going opposite field and hitting it out of the yard, and it just doesn't feel like there's a cold spot. You see the heat map with guys up there. Here's the red, here's the blue. I don't know that there's much blue up there, especially with Vladdy.
No, there's not, man. First of all, okay, so, I pitched against Vlad's dad.
Yeah.
There was no approach, man.
Well, yeah, he could bounce it up there. He's going to hit it.
Right. And so with Vlad Jr., a little bit more selective, a little bit more, he corners you into a spot where he can do some serious damage. But, man, the way he's hitting the ball to right field right now, if you are going to throw a breaking pitch away, you can get a little bit more of that chase off the plate. But, man, you cannot make a mistake there against him. And the other hard thing is, too, anything on the inner half of the plate, if he is in a situation where he's sitting fastball and he's cheating, he's going to get that pitch. But if let's say you're in a breaking ball count or something you get to chase, you can beat him inside a little bit. Now, I can't believe I'm saying that because he's crushing the ball right now.
Hitting almost 500.
He's hitting almost 500. It's insane. Now, George Springer, man, again, those two hitters, if Vlad and George Springer, they're the two guys that are not going to change an inning and not going to put up crooked, and not going to create a 2, 3, or 4 spot in this lineup. Ernie Clement, you know what? I know he's hitting. I get it. Go after him.
Yeah.
Right? I know, Jimenez is hitting. Go after him, too. I'm still going after him with what I got. The best thing I got. Yeah. If Bryce Miller, if I'm backspinning that 2,500 RPM fastball, I'm still doing that against these hitters. But Vlad, in this situation, Vlad and Springer, they're the two guys that, you know what, I'm just going to go I'm just going to sidestep for the next guy. That's what I'm doing.
If you can get him to chase,
yeah,
cool. If not,
absolutely.
Got it. All right, coming up, how will the Mariners utilize that bullpen today? We're going to get into that conversation as we continue live from Victory Hall on your home for the Mariners in the American League Championship Series. It is Seattle Sports on 710.
It's time, right? Yeah, okay, push it. We're Seattle sports fans, man. Ain't our first rodeo with the panic button.
The series is tied. The Mariners aren't down.
If the Mariners have taught us anything in 2025, it's that anything is possible.
He's still 2 wins away from going to a World Series.
ALCS Game 5. First pitch today at 3.
And the sellout crowd just waiting to go bonkers.
On Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app.
Start having fun Caesar Sportsbook at Muckleshoot Casino Resort is your #1 place to eat, drink, watch, and have fun. Keep up with your favorite sports anywhere and everywhere on property with the mobile app. Visit muckleshootcasino.com today. Scan the QR code and let the play begin.
Muckleshoot.
1-877 Cars for Kids. K-A-R-S Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Call 1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS to reach a friendly live agent. Donation's super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Call us now, 1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS.
Donate your car today.
Did you know you can donate real estate too?
John here with Happy Hauler. We want to help get your unwanted items to those in need. Furniture and household items you plan on throwing away? We'll take them and prioritize donating and recycling, keeping items out of the landfill, and giving useful items a second happy home. Happy Hauler is Seattle's eco-friendly junk removal. We work with over 20 nonprofits all over Western Washington to donate used items. Make yourself, your community, and the planet happy. Reclaim your space. HappyHauler.com, hauling with a heart.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Protect your home and auto by bundling them with Progressive, and you'll have a little less to worry about. But we know you'll find other things to worry about. Like that text you just got from your boss. Hey, call me when you get a sec. Hey, call me when you get a sec. Hey, call me when you get a sec. Oh, hey, call me when you get a sec. Yeah, this is bad. Oh, well, at least you protected your home and auto with Progressive, so you don't have to worry about that. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
Makita knows that pros never settle, and neither do we. With Makita, you get tools that perform at the highest level on every job without compromise. Makita is for the most detailed pros, expertly engineered to deliver precision, job after job. When your work calls for the best, call on Makita. Makita, built to be the best. Available at the Home Depot.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with the Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com and get ready for the workday.
The home of the Seahawks, Seattle Sports.
Touchdown! Seahawks! Ken Walker III!
Get everything Seahawks at seattlesports.com.
Comcast Business can help turn your small business into a connected, secure, modern business. It's how restaurants become reliably up and running neighborhood favorites. How healthcare offices become the data-protecting caregivers that we all depend on. And how wealth management firms become cyber-securing guardians of your information. With reliable connectivity, enhanced cybersecurity, and Wi-Fi backup, your business can stay connected and get threat-ready with Comcast Business. Powering possibilities.
Now through November 16th, new Comcast Business customers can get started with 150 megabit internet plus security for $59.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year agreement. Plus, ask how to get a $500 prepaid card on a qualifying gig package. Call today. Restrictions apply. Requires enrollment in paperless billing and auto pay with bank account. Early termination fee applies. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra.
Eric Johnson here. I spent the past 30 years working to help make our community better. Better informed, better protected when it comes to consumer issues, and better equipped to take on whatever life throws at us. That's why I love the free Washington Accident book series from Davis Law Group. These books keep us better informed about the law, better able to protect ourselves on and off the road, and better off when all is said and done after an accident. Chris Davis didn't have to write these books. He did it because he saw a need. People who were in accidents or other legal situations didn't know what to do, what pictures to take, documents to request. Only a tiny fraction of the people who get these free books will ever become clients of Davis Law Group, but that's not the point. Chris wrote them because it was the right thing to do. The free Washington Accident Book Series is a must-have for drivers who want to be prepared for whatever the road might throw at them. Get yours at WashingtonAccidentBooks.com.
This hour is brought to you by Mazda of Everett.
This is Mariners Pennant Push on Seattle Sports.
We continue live from Victory Hall. Bob Stelton, Ryan Rowland-Smith taking you up to Mariners pregame at 2 p.m. ALCS game number 5. Series tied 2 games apiece. Mariners sending Bryce Miller to the hill. He'll face off against Kevin Gausman. You can catch it all right here, Seattle Sports on 710. And it's going to be, there's so many different avenues we've been talking about. Possibility. If this happens, what do you do here? If this happens, what do you do there? And people are texting in questions. Somebody was asking, why wouldn't you put Brian Wu in there for 6 innings? He's the king of 6 innings. I'm trying to explain. He hasn't pitched in a month. He's got to build that pitch count back up. That endurance doesn't just appear with side sessions and sim games. Unless he has quick innings where they just pop up, 1, 2, 3, pop up. If he's got some 8-pitch innings and 5-pitch innings, okay, maybe he goes 6. But, yeah, he's not going to go 6.
And not to mention, it's been the one sim game. He threw around 30 pitches in that sim game, against, whoever it was in a pretty chilled environment. Now, put it this way. If you're like, all right, we'll go out and throw 6, he might be throwing 85 miles per hour by the 4th. And then he's doing an interview after the game with his arms in a sling, maybe. But, hey, look. Gave it all he got. No, but fair enough. But you can rule out him starting. Unfortunately, I hate to say that.
Yeah, it's and I don't doubt we'll see him, depending on the situation, what happens in the game. But yeah, the idea that all of a sudden he's going to be your 6-inning guy and go out there and get it dialed in for 6 is not a realistic expectation.
Man, that's it. Yeah, again, they're at this point now without him, but you're going to look back and go, man, what if you had a Brian Wu one of these middle games, the first game of a playoff series, but not the case.
Boy, that injury was really ill-timed.
It really was. And by the way,
a rock through the whole season.
I know, man. And going back to that, it's like, okay, it's just a pec issue. It's okay. Like, they're going to have the time off if they get that buy round, how important that buy round is to make sure he can get back. And here we are, and no Brian Wu.
Yeah. We got a golden retriever here with a Mariners hat on, the Mariners bandana. Love it.
We're getting distracted here. Very cute.
Everybody's watching the dog. I don't blame them.
See, you were asking me about Sonny, my boxer, the puppy. See, he couldn't stand there. Or maybe he could with all the gear on, whatever, but he'd be going nuts right now. So
jumping all over everybody.
With, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm jealous of this obedience happening right here in front of us.
Very well behaved.
Yes.
Very well behaved. That dog's adorable. In terms of the bullpen, though, do you expect a quicker hook from Dan, or he's going to be aggressive in getting guys in there not named Caleb Ferguson or Luke Jackson?
Wow, you are.
I don't want to see him. I don't want to see him. I didn't want to see him before the series, and they've given me reason to be even more steadfast in that opinion.
Yeah, 100%. In this Game 5, I said this early on in the show about, an hour ago. We've been sitting here talking about what this Game 5 means. The winner of this game, in my opinion, is 95% certain they're going to win this. Now, if the Blue Jays win it, they go back and they're a game away at the Rogers Center. It's very difficult for you to go 4-0 in Rogers Center. If the Mariners win it, man, all of a sudden now they can start pushing the issue here with the Blue Jays and pressing them. And they're going to win out from there on. They're going to win Game 6 and they're going to turn around and win Game 7. So I think the winner of this, therefore, you have to treat inning 1 through inning 9 like it's all you got, not to mention the off day tomorrow.
Yeah. Last night, Luis Castillo, did you agree with when they pulled him?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
They were squaring him up. They were starting.
Him up.
He unfortunately, we didn't really even talk about him to this point, but it's been really disappointing what you got out of the first two starts. And Kirby, who just did not have it and has been very good in totality in the postseason.
Yeah.
And here at T-Mobile Park, that was not the case in that game. First two innings, he was great, and then the wheels came off. And the same was true for Castillo, who you know, he had his moments, and then they started squaring him up. And I like that they were aggressive in getting him out of there when they did.
Yeah, and you know, again, we had Tim Kirchin on yesterday from ESPN, who I said, hey, look, you know, is there a resurgence here from starting pitching? Now, the starting pitching in playoffs overall haven't covered as many innings, matter of fact, as what they did last year. However, when you're in
outside of the Dodgers.
Outside of the Dodgers, yes.
In fact, what did they do last night? I know they won. I didn't see how long the starter was.
Yeah, they won. Yeah, Glasnow pitched 5 2/3.
Okay.
Yeah, which, I mean, must be nice. But look at what the bullpen numbers when that starting pitcher, you know, can get deeper.
Yeah.
When you start pressing them, doesn't matter what kind of arm you got there, when you start pressing and they have to cover 7 innings of high leverage getting outs, man, that's where you really test that depth. And the one thing we talked about, going back to that trade deadline, the Mariners were so eager, and that was their number one priority. Jerry DiPoto talked about, and Justin Hollander was, you know, up until the final minutes trying to get that second bullpen piece, is because of this. I mean, because they're getting stretched, and you're really starting to test that depth. And so, man, I'm telling you, when you have a situation, and it's not because they're tired, it's purely because the hitters get more looks, and there's just way more randomness. The minute you start bringing a guy in for an inning in the third, and what have you, that's just the way the bullpens work. So, man, starting pitching, it's been a tough pill to swallow here in these last couple games.
Wouldn't it have been great if Gregory Santos could have amounted to anything?
That would have been huge. That power sinker, getting that ground ball, getting that, upper 90s.
Just zero.
Yeah, absolutely. That
just got nothing from that.
Right.
That addition.
Exactly. If you projected, because he was looking at essentially maybe, you know, a closer type.
Yeah, he was perceived to be this leverage arm. Whether he was going to be the closer or your eighth inning guy, what have you, the daydream about him and the conversation was about what, you know, back end. He wasn't some just slappy in the middle of the, you know, eat up some innings and give you some breathing room. No, this was a leverage guy, and you've gotten zero out of him.
Yeah, but you know what? Here we are. Talking about guys from 2 years. Like,
it just his name cropped up like, because. You're right. The Mariners were after another arm.
They were.
It didn't happen. They thought they had somebody locked up. It didn't happen.
Even to the point, and I don't think Justin Hollander will mind me saying this, but even the day when the Mariners got back from that road trip from Oakland, from Sacramento, and everyone was just gushing over the trade. Justin Hollander, and this is how, you know, dialed in he is, was like, yeah, man, he kept saying, like, we was pushing so hard for that extra bullpen piece.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, but we just got Gino and Josh. This is amazing. But you kept saying, no, we're really put. And again, this is exactly why, man, because you have to cover. Unfortunately, you're going to have to cover some ground, bridge that gap. But you have to, like I said, day off tomorrow. Treat this. You're going to stretch out some of those high leverage arms, cover some ground, and pull the trigger quick. If Bryce Miller, it doesn't look like he did in game one.
Real quick, what is it about Ferguson that makes him so ineffective? I know I'm picking on him and joking around, but. I mean, you needed a lefty. I understood why they went after him, because at that point, Spire was your only guy. Saucedo was hurt, and when he was healthy, he just wasn't effective this year. So they wanted that other lefty arm, which makes sense. But he's a guy that's got he's got some history, and they've had such a great track record of even taking guys with, you know, they come over and you look at the numbers, you go, this guy's got an ERA of 5.3 or whatever it is, and they just turn him into an impactful performer in that bullpen. This is a rare occasion where this team hasn't had that impact on a guy.
Well, you know what, too? Like, I don't look at Caleb Ferguson as being that left on left. Everyone's like, you got that extra lefty. That was the point. They only had Gabe Spire, so he wanted that lefty-lefty matchup. However, it's not a situation where he has just dominated lefties in the past, right? So, like, this year, matter of fact, has been he's pretty much, except for, 2020, and I take 2020 with a grain of salt, lefties have done the least amount against him in 2025. So if I said, hey, he did well against lefties, you're like, yeah.
Doesn't feel like it.
No. But I think with Caleb Ferguson this year, the role was a little bit different. Gabe Spire, sort of all of a sudden it transcended to this, what we saw a couple of years ago. He was throwing harder. Left on left, that was your pocket, right, for Gabe Spire. And then Caleb Ferguson came into this and said, hey, guys, I'm here after a trade. But he kind of got pushed to that, second tier, down by a run or two role. It could be a situation where in the last month or so he hasn't really pitched in those high leverage situations, and so you've only really seen him in kind of those, hey, get me some outs when we're down a run or two. It's just a different role, I think, but it's a tough one. The bullpen market at the trade deadline, for good reason, and I love this, the fact that more teams are in the playoff hunt, and you know how big that bullpen extra piece is in the playoffs. It was just so competitive, and the cost was so high that you got to a place that's literally all that was available.
All right, coming up, we're going to set the scene, make our predictions for what is now the biggest game in Mariners franchise history. That's coming up as we continue live from Victory Hall, right here on your home for the Mariners in the American League Championship Series, Seattle Sports on 710.
It's time, right? Yeah, okay, push it. We're Seattle sports fans, man. Ain't our first rodeo with the panic button.
The series is tied. The Mariners aren't down.
If the Mariners have taught us anything in 2025, it's that anything is possible.
He's still 2 wins away from going to a World Series.
ALCS Game 5. First pitch today at 3.
And the sellout crowd just waiting to go bonkers.
On Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app.
Matt Coker here with West Coast Men's Health. In the past 5 years, we've seen thousands of men at our clinics. Most guys tell us the same story, that in their early 50s, it's not that they couldn't function, they just needed help. They started taking Viagra, and it worked great at first. But after a few years, it stopped working. The problem is that their arteries had become more restricted since they started taking it, because Viagra does not unclog arteries. Here at West Coast Men's Health, we use acoustic wave therapy to target the real problem. We break down plaque and clear up the arteries so blood can flow like it did in your 20s. This restores function. And guys, listen to this. You won't have to take a pill anymore. So if this sounds like you, give West Coast Men's Health a call today and see how we can help.
With clinics in Redmond and Tacoma, call 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com.
The rainy season's here, Seattle, and your roof can't wait. Schedule your free estimate at 3treeroofing.com and get $500 off today. Costly repairs and Band-Aid fixes won't hold up and just drain your pockets. Our technicians replace roofs year-round, backed by the strongest warranties. 3 Tree Roofing, your Puget Sound roofing experts.
At Bible Law Group, we understand when you've got legal problems so biblical, not even an Etsy witch can turn your court case around. With James Bible and his team by your side, don't panic when your ark is lost in divorce or when a whale swallows your defense attorney. At Bible Law Group, we've secured over $40 million in settlements for our clients, and we're ready to fight for you. When your legal problems hit biblical proportions, contact Bible Law Group and let our talented team of lawyers get to work, no matter the problem. Find us at BibleLawGroup.com.
Change is always happening. It's part of life. And when it comes to music, change is all around us. Songs are rewritten. Classics are remixed. Bands and artists come and go. Even our taste in music changes. Here at Xfinity, we know there's still good in keeping some things the same. That's why we want to do our part with a 5-year price guarantee on our internet. It means no matter what changes, you get 5 years of the most reliable Wi-Fi with our best equipment included for a price that stays exactly the same. Surprised? Life is full of them. One internet price, 5 years, guaranteed. Learn more at xfinity.com/deals. Restrictions apply. New residential customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August 2024.
Lake Washington Windows was voted best in the Northwest. Celebrate by saving 25% off new Leak Armor installed windows through October. Plus enjoy 0 down, 0 payments, 0 interest until 2026. Visit LakeWashingtonWindows.com, a name you can trust.
Now is your time to get into a new D.R. Horton home by taking advantage of its National Red Tag Sales event going on right now through October 19th. Stop by any of its participating communities and find select Red Tag homes at incredible pricing. So whether you're buying your first home or looking for an upgrade, you don't want to miss the Red Tag Sales event going on right now. Discover the D.R. Horton difference at drhorton.com. D.R. Horton, America's builder and equal housing opportunity builder.
Get rid of stubborn fat and address areas of loose skin with ProSculpt, the simple 1-day permanent fat reduction and skin tightening treatment. Book your free consultation at prosculpt.com.
Luxury has arrived at Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel. It's Mike Salk here. You can book now for an unforgettable experience. Let's talk about Hawks Peak. It is the place to be for game days this football season. With over 66 TVs, indoor-outdoor concept, the deck is covered and it's heated as well. And the food, oh man, it was excellent. All with breathtaking views of the Cascades and the Snoqualmie Valley. Yep, you can go to snocasino.com. Seattle's closest is now Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel.
The LJ way is.
You look at stuff like this and it's like, I don't want to come into an industry and work on a place that is going to compromise how I feel about myself. I get to go to work every day with good people and I get to enjoy what I do because I'm out there just trying to do right by people I care about, which is our community. We're going to see them at the grocery store. I'm going to see them at the sports tournaments. 2 friends of our daughters came in last night just on the lot, didn't know I was there. And it was cool because you got to take them through and they're going to buy a car for their first driver and a car for their kid going to school soon. These are the people that you're going to work with. And so you better make sure that your laundry's clean. I don't think Lee Johnson specifically, right, Speedway Chevrolet, where I'm at, I don't think they've ever had a problem with the community of being able to stand up and look them in the eye and know that they did their job well.
The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto family.
As a quarterback, you cannot run a winning play with a messy playbook. And most companies' data, well, it's a mess. AI is changing the game, but if your data is scattered, you're stuck on the sidelines. Brock Heward here, and this is where my friends at Marquee Data come in. They get your data in shape, clean, connected, ready to perform, so you can finally put AI to work for your business. Whether sales, finance, or operations, every smart move starts with the right data. So head to mydataqb.com to draw up your game-winning data play today. That's Marquee Data or mydataqb.com.
Mariners pennant push
on Seattle Sports.
Continue live from Victory Hall. Bob Stelton, Ryan Rowland-Smith with you live. Seattle Sports on 710. You got the Mariners pregame show coming up at the top of the hour at 2 p.m. 3:08 first pitch. Bryce Miller on the hill for your Seattle Mariners. Kevin Gausman going for the Toronto Blue Jays. This series all knotted up. 2 games apiece, unfortunately. But it's not even close to over. You got It's the best of 3 now. Unfortunately, or maybe fortunately. Again, you don't like the idea of having to go to Toronto. You're going, but the Mariners hit well there. They did last year. They did certainly in the first 2 games, whereas the Toronto Blue Jays did not. I don't know if that continues, but they certainly hit better there than they have here at home. So it's not like you're going to this house of horrors where you've struggled and man, we just don't see the ball well there. So. I don't know. I think you go in there with some level of confidence. That doesn't take away the importance of getting today. You got to go in there 3-2. You have to go 3-2 because the idea that you're going to go in down 3-2 into the next 2, that's a tall order to say the least.
Really
but
tough.
I would think they do enter that building with some level of confidence based on what they've been able to do there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just because simply put, just a couple days ago, that's exactly what they were doing. And think about the stakes too. When you're coming off a 15-inning, you're depleted in the bullpen.
Nobody wants to hear about them being tired.
They're
in their 20s.
Yeah. You fly in the next day. You don't get a chance to have a workout, by the way, that day because you're flying.
The flight was delayed.
The flight was delayed, and you go in and you sneak away with game 1. Boom. Oh, and by the way, then you get game 2. So you're going back to Toronto with some of that, just in the back of your mind that is something that when you were just there a couple days ago, you handled the crowd, the sights and sounds of everything that you mentioned could be a place that man, brings back memories. Not the case. So, you know what? That's one thing. But, man, got to get this game. I can't say that. How many times can you say that? Whoever wins tonight, man, or excuse me, today.
You feel like that's it? That's a wrap?
I feel like that. I really do. Yeah, I hate to say it.
Now, if Toronto wins, though, you might change your opinion and go, you know what, that doesn't mean it's over.
They
can still take those last 2.
Well, no, it's not like, Toronto wins, I'm flying back to Australia for 3 months on a vacation and just trying to get as far away from this and drown my sorrows.
Why not? I hear plane tickets are super cheap.
Yeah, I've been complaining about that the last couple of days. Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. Yeah. And by the way, going to the Bahamas for mother-in-law's birthdays as well, which
super cheap
all
as
out
well.
of nowhere, which helped out.
Vegas, Bahamas, really same
someone
cost.
Who doesn't like to spend money. But
Have you looked at Greyhound bus?
Yeah,
What's that like?
man, I wish. Hey, I love driving. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I love a good road trip. But no, but listen, it's man. And I said this earlier too. Game 5 was epic in the last series, but it's different when we're going to look back, especially in the next year or so, if you don't get through this because you had that 2-game buffer to kick off this series, man. You can't squash that.
Yeah.
And if you lose tonight, man, you're putting yourself in a tough spot.
How hard do you think it is for these guys, whether we're talking about the arms, the starters, the bullpen guys, or the guys in the lineup, not to press, not to feel some level of urgency like, man, we have to get to Toronto up 3-2. I mean, I know they're great at just flushing the previous night, win or lose, and just focusing, playing out the cliche, one game at a time. That's all we care about. But when they're up there, and they're in that batter's box, or they're out there on the bump, how hard is it not to have that sense of, man, we got to get this one?
It's tough. It's natural, right? Like, and nerves, and I say this to kids all the time if I'm coaching a kid, and I had to coach myself this. Like, you're going to be nervous, just embrace it. Like, that's how it is. You're going to want to press because you want to do a little bit extra, just embrace it. But then there's 15 seconds or 10 seconds you have before the pitch. Take a breath and just say, okay, what's my objective right now? Am I going to get overzealous here and try and get after that pitch, knowing there's a very high chance Gosman's going to throw that split and try and bury it? You just have to be aware of that. So that's something, if you try and push that away, it just makes it even tougher. It's going to be natural, just like it was natural when they had a 2-0 buffer coming back from Toronto. And I said, man, everyone's a little bit too relaxed. We can't help that. Like, of course you're relaxed. You're stoked because you just took 2 games in Toronto.
Do you think they lacked intensity in Game 3?
I don't think they lacked intensity. I just think the little moments, right? Like, for example, I'll go back to George Kirby for facing Vladdy in that situation. Now, he wasn't trying to just, hang a breaking ball that he hit off, nearly put a hole through the wall on. But I'm watching that thinking, okay, if this is a Game 5 scenario and he's looking over his shoulder saying that there is someone coming in after me if I don't look sharp because the panic button is being ready to press, I'm burying this slider as opposed to throwing a good quality pitch in the strike zone. So that's the difference. That's the nuance, I think, is when you talk about lack of intensity. It's not this coming in like, oh, we got this made, let's go have a blast. And we don't have to make, pitching change. Not that at all, period, at all. I'm just saying there's just those little nuances which I believe are different. That's natural. It's just natural. That's the way it goes. But, man, I just think today there is going to be a little bit of that natural press. Get some runs early, goes without saying. Get into that Gosman pitch count as much as you can. See something up and make him pay when he tries to throw that split and it kind of hangs out over the plate. And guys, just get that good swing off with runners in scoring position. Make it happen when it counts. Gino, figure something out, man. Get that hanging split or that fastball up and just get after it and have that moment today in Game 5.
So what are you leaning towards? You feeling good? Feeling optimistic? They're gonna come away with a win here?
Put it this way. Like clutching yourself, like you're nervous.
I know you're
really nervous
tighter as we get closer to the end of the show here.
Yeah, okay. So we were sitting in the radio booth last night watching the game, and you were like, "Oh yeah," I was distracting myself on my computer. Why? Because I was just like, I was getting a little frustrated. Right? It's natural for everyone. I'm telling you, this game is going to be way tougher for me to watch. I'm not going to say more than Game 5.
You're going to be working the whole time?
Yeah, I'm just going to be doing random. You'll be seeing me look up flights and complaining about flights to Seattle. To Australia more so. No, I'm kidding. I'm going to be watching, but I'm just going to. This is going to be a tough one to watch, man. Game 5 here. I know it's not do or die, but man, it certainly feels that way.
So you like their chances? You're calling for an M's win.
I like their chances. Just look, Bryce Miller. Just do your thing. Empty the tank early. Don't try and match what you did in Game 1. Empty the tank. Dan Wilson, just be on high alert, be a batter earlier than what he was last night, and that'll be okay. Just have a big moment late in this game, and I'm all good.
Okay.
How's that?
We'll see how relaxed you are up there. We'll report back on that. All right, that's going to do it for us from Victory Hall. You got the Mariners pregame show coming your way next. Game 5 of the American League Championship Series. Again, Bryce Miller on the hill. He's facing off against Kevin Gosman. Mariners got to get this one. We'll see what happens. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll talk to you on Monday right here, Seattle Sports on 710.
What a turn of events we have seen in this American League Championship Series.
Now tied at 2-2.
The M's need to get more from the top part of their lineup.
We knew it wasn't going to be easy.
Today, the Mariners aim for a 3-2 series lead and pull within one win away from the first World Series in franchise history.
This team is really resilient. We believe in each other and we want to come back.
First pitch at 3. Mariners Pennant Push pregame starts at noon on Seattle Sports on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
Did you know in Washington State, you can see a physical therapist without a referral from your doctor? That's right. Thanks to Direct Access, you can skip the wait and get the care you need right away. Shannon O'Kelly, how has Direct Access changed the game?
Direct Access for us, Brock, is a game changer. Why? Is because there is so much research and data out there that says if you get in early when you have a musculoskeletal problem or an injury, the earlier you get in and we can start care, the better outcomes and the decreased downstream cost, okay? So it's so important. Our providers are all doctors of physical therapy. They're all trained to identify situations and problems. They've got the skill, they've got the talent, they've got the knowledge. If you get in and start therapy early, we're going to get you back to activity, pain-free, and moving and having fun.
Fast, easy, effective. Direct Access is your path to better movement, starting with a single step. Visit irgpt.com to schedule your appointment today. irgpt.com.
Start having fun. Caesar Sportsbook at Muckleshoot Casino Resort is your #1 place to eat, drink, watch, and have fun. Keep up with your favorite sports anywhere and everywhere on property with the mobile app. Visit muckleshootcasino.com today. Scan the QR code and let the play begin.
Muckleshoot. When it comes to the security of your business, doubts can creep in about who you're trusting to protect it. At Bail Arm, we got you. For nearly 80 years, we've been putting our customers' minds at ease with our advanced technology and personalized support. Feeling insecure about your current security service? Visit bailarm.com today.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right, you can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code POWER to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code POWER for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code POWER for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
This is the story of the one. As a custodial supervisor at a high school, he knows that during cold and flu season, germs spread fast. It's why he partners with Grainger to stay fully stocked on the products and supplies he needs, from tissues to disinfectants to floor scrubbers. All so that he can help students, staff, and teachers stay healthy and focused. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Pros don't just show up. They prove how it's done, with precision and without shortcuts. Makita tools are built the same way, with a dedication to lasting quality. trusted performance, and results that reward your effort year after year. When the job calls for the best, call on Makita. Built to be the best. Available at the Home Depot.
Help keep our community safe and healthy during National Prescription Drug Takeback Day, October 25th. Find a collection site near you at deatakeback.com. Do your part to lower overdose deaths and prevent drug misuse before it starts.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. This is the Seattle Mariners pregame show, counting you down to first pitch between the Toronto Blue Jays and your American League West champion Seattle Mariners in the 2025 American League Championship Series.
And the fans are going crazy here at T-Mobile Park.
Pregame coverage is presented by the Chevy Colorado, Cheetos, and by Muckleshoot Casino Resort. The countdown to first pitch starts now.
You just got to come to the ballpark every day ready to play, ready to work hard, and ready to have fun. It's a kid's game at the end of the day. I know it's the postseason, and crowds are a little bit louder, lights are a little bit brighter, moments are bigger, but at the end of the day, it's still baseball. Like, you've still got to show up like it's game 1 or game 15, game 130. Like, you just got to play baseball and kind of take